What does that even mean, Bowers game?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out Flag Dash from Peacekeeper Games. It's for 2 to 4 players. Age is 10 plus. I'll take you about 30 minutes to play. Wink. And in Flag Dash, you are going to be playing an intense game of Capture the Flag, where there will be tunnels and cats on the field and spies and people digging holes and people lassoing other people as you attempt to capture your team's flag. What am I talking about? Let's open it up and I'll show you. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Flag Dash. First and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule booklet, 16 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It is extremely well done, except for one big hiccup on the first paragraph of the whole dang thing, where it incorrectly tells you how to win the game. It says you can collect one character flag from each opposing character, which is true kind of, but it fails to mention that one of your characters has to be the person that does that. So one of your 2 runners is the one that has to get all 3 of those flags, which they mentioned later on in the rule booklet. It's a big deal if you don't play it correctly. Well, it's not a big deal if you don't play it correctly, but the game is definitely enhanced when you do play it correctly. So hopefully you will remember that. So in this game, what you're going to be doing is you are going to have a team of flag capturers and 1 goalie who are going to try and capture your opponent's flag, which will be at the other side of the board. Hooray! What you're going to try and do is to get that flag all the way from here to over to your green spot, and vice versa. They'll be trying to do the same thing. Whoever does that first is going to win the game, or you can try and rip the flags off of all 3 of your opponents, and if one player is able to do that, then they will win the game for their team. Along the way, though, there is all sorts of crazy things like traps and lassos and cats on the field and boosts and spies and all sorts of crazy stuff like that, but we'll get a little bit more into that a little bit later. So let's go over the components, then we'll get into the gameplay. So component wise, we got our board right here. It is a double-sided board. I will flip it over so I can show you the back of this board when we're done. You're going to have 2 flags, and what's really cool is that it fits on top of the meeple, so you'll be able to very clearly see who has the flag. This is how your game is going to be set up. You're going to have 2 people who are your goalies who will try and protect the flag, and they will not be able to grab a flag, which also means they can't grab anybody's flag, and they also can't utilize their special ability. But that's not a big deal because no one is going to be directly controlling the goalie, because each player, assuming you're playing in a 4-player game or if you're playing in the advanced version, which I do recommend, is going to be controlling one of their own characters and then also the goalie whenever they want to. And you are going to be doing that by playing these cards right here. And you're going to be playing 2 of these cards down in front of you. This is a programming game, and I'll go over what the different cards do. Let's get over the self-explanatory ones right now. Up, down, left, right, control, alt, central, all that good stuff. And the way you'll be able to tell which way you're going is by looking at the graph. So if you played this card, your character or the goalie is going to go to the right. This one will allow you to grab the flag, either off one of your opponent's belts or the big bad flag over there. But you have to be next to it orthogonally. Everything in this game is orthogonally. Repeat, this is the recycle one. That just means you're going to reuse a card that you have already played this turn. This is a very useful card. And then shove. If you are next to a character orthogonally, you will be able to shove them 2 spaces any direction you want, as long as it's not diagonal. Regular movement rules pretty much there. Also, they drop the flag, so that is a great defensive way to do things. Now, what you're going to do on your turn is you are going to put 2 of these cards face down in front of you, like so. I guess we're just getting to the gameplay right here. So let's say, I'm taking control of the yellow guy, and I want to go forward, and I eventually would like to go to the right. So I'd play them right there in front of me. Now, I'm not ready yet because, as you may notice, there's these 7 tokens right here, and all this stuff is going to be hidden behind your handy-dandy little player screen, which also has tons and tons of information on it, which makes it incredibly useful. But the different tokens are really where the game spices up, because you're going to play these face down on top of your cards, and this is going to dictate who goes first. So everyone is going to flip over their top card at the same time, and whoever's number is the lowest is going to get to do their action first, their top action first. You also have a tiebreaker token right here, which really will come into play, which goes to the team that played last. So let's go over what the different tokens do. So the first one, pretty self-explanatory. It's the 1. It's generally going to allow you to go first, and all you get to do is play your 1 action card. Pretty boring. Blah. Next, we have the 2, which is going to let you play your action card, but it's also going to give you a boost token. And as I mentioned, all that stuff is listed down here. Boost tokens will go onto your character, and next round, the round after you've earned it, they will allow you to, before, during, or after your turn, after your action card that you're playing, move 1 additional space. If you have 2 boosts, you'll be able to move 2 additional space, which is a huge deal, especially when you have the flag. It can just be a crazy big deal then. Number 3, this is where we really start getting interesting. This is going to allow you to play 2 cards. Now, you have to play the card that you played down, but you also get to play another card out of your hand in addition to that card. You can play it in whatever order you want. 4 is going to give you a boost, and also it's going to let you do the action that you played twice. So if you were to play this on this one right here, let's take a look at that. So I have that. That means I would go forward 1, 2 spaces, and I would also gain a boost on my character. Next, we have 5, which will allow you to do an action 3 times, which is pretty cool. 6, which you've already seen, that just lets you do 2 actions. And then 7, which will allow you to immediately pick up all of your chips, including this one. So that's going to be pretty self-explanatory there. So you're going to do that. Everyone is going to take turns, well, doing their actions based on their order. Then you'll go down here. Everyone will once again flip open over their tokens. The lowest numbers will go first. Everybody will be doing their thing. And as I mentioned, you're trying to grab the flag and take it back to your area. Now, let's start talking about special abilities, because there's lots of special stuff going on in this game. First, you may notice that there are tunnels. Yes, those are movable tunnels. And these are going to be things that you can, boop, pop through, like kind of like magic almost. It's not magic, it's a shovel. You play Clash Royale, you know that reference. But you'll be able to use these once per turn as long as you are on it, and it will pop you up wherever you want as long as you do not have the flag. They're incredibly useful. Also, you may notice that there's different characters and they have different symbols on them. That's because the different characters are going to get different special abilities, and some of them are really cool. So let's take a look at the special abilities the characters have. So here's the Digger. He is going to be able to fill in holes that are next to him or dig additional holes that he'll be able to use. Anybody will be able to use, but very useful ability. Next, this guy, he's able to lay traps down, and traps will hurt your opponents. The Lasso. A lot of people in my game group did not like it, but I really liked his ability because when it comes in handy, it really comes in handy. But he's going to have a special action card that he will be able to use, where he will, oh, I don't have it right here, where he will be able to lasso a character closer to him. So that can be either you or your team. So what I like to do here is you can lasso your team closer to your flag. Very useful ability. It's won me a game before. Next, we got the blue guy. I think, oh, he's incredibly useful. He has jump ability, which means he can jump over characters and jump over walls. Because holy moly, we forgot to have them set up. But there are also walls out here which will be set up. And you can completely modularize this board, obviously. Next, you have the Spy. The Spy is incredibly useful. She gets 2 of these Spy tokens right here. She can only use these tokens twice the entire game. You only get to use both of your tokens once. You only get to do the ability twice the entire game. And she gets to play that there, and then she gets to see what everyone else's tokens are, and then she also gets to see what one player on the other team's action card is, their first action card or their second action card, depending on where she played it, and then she plays whatever card and whatever token she wants. So she's incredibly useful for that. And then we have the Crazy Cat Lady, who unleashes cat tokens onto the field. Not really, but she has special cat tokens she will utilize, which will push people away from her, which I find humorous thematically. But anywho, you're going to be trying to capture the flag or steal all 3 of your opponent's flags. Last but not least, let's take a look at the back of the board, because there is lots and lots of variability in this game. I didn't even show you this little sheet right here, which has all sorts of extra variants that you can play with, which will have flags, will have decoys, all sorts of cool stuff like that. But that, in a nutshell, is how Flag Dash is played. Alrighty then, Flag Dash from Peacekeeper Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game's not going to be for everybody for a couple different reasons. Very restricted player count, 2 to 4 players, and also I feel like it plays best at 4. Now, it's not terrible at the other game modes, but I liked it best at 4 because it really brings out the teamwork element and the cooperative element, and it has this crazy sense of tension with this game. That's another con that some people are not going to like. I personally like it, but this game is very tense, and it can be very stressful. If you are playing with your husband or wife and they tend to get frustrated with games sometimes, make sure that they are on the other team so you two do not have to work together, because there's a lot of tension in this game. Also, it says 30 minutes to play. Throw that out the window with 4 players. I'm not a player who typically gets analysis paralysis, but this game creates analysis paralysis as you try to outthink your opponents and think every single strategic possibility that could be possible. I said possible twice. And I love that, but still, it does stretch the game out to a good deal, but it doesn't feel like it's too long. Also, another comment I had with that, and that kind of is a big one, is that the rules had the one major screw-up, and it's the very first, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, except it's the first paragraph of the rule booklet where they tell you that you can win the game by capturing your 3 opponents, one of their flags apiece. And then it's later on in the rule booklet tells you that one character has to do that by themselves, which completely changes it. Now, I like that version of the game better because, honestly, you would always just try and rip off 3 flags instead of capturing the big flag in that version. But that is something that they definitely should fix in a second version of the game. Any other cons I have with it? Oh, the box insert is stupid. It's terrible. It's bad, and you're just going to rip it out as soon as you get the game. And that was one thing. I was reading the Kickstarter updates, and they wanted to assure everybody that everything will fit inside the box nicely and snugly. And that is true. That is 100% true. But you're going to get really frustrated trying to figure out the perfect way to do it. So honestly, just rip this thing out and just use this, which isn't a huge deal. It's just because they pack so much into the box, which is a good thing, right? Any other cons I have with the game? Oh, slight issue, not a big deal. I feel like some of the special abilities are a little bit better than other special abilities. In particular, the lasso comes to my mind. I really like playing with the lasso, but nearly everybody I played with agreed that it seemed like it was a pretty weak thing. All the other special abilities really seemed like they were a little bit more useful, but I'm sure in the right situation, the lasso is pretty awesome, and I like using it. But still, I want to mention that. I feel like some of them are better than other ones, but not by a huge margin. Any other cons? I'm trying to give you all the cons because moving on to the pros, I really liked... Oh, last con. 2 players. If you're going to play this 2 players, do not play the standard version of the game. It is boring and I can't recommend it. The thing is, with the standard version of the game, you're pretty much just going to move one character, it feels like. And that's what I did both times I did that. It was just like, I don't see the point in wasting my time doing anything else. I'm just going to move this one character. But, moving on to the pros, I really enjoyed Flag Dash. And it scratches a lot of itches for me. First and foremost, I love team games. I love where it's your team versus someone else's team. And I like it in some games, like I like it in Codenames, but I like when there's also strategy, where you and another player who both consider yourselves to be, titans, like brain titans who play board games, have to work together to try and outthink your opponents. And sometimes you butt heads and you collide. You're like, I told you they were going to do that. I knew she was going to do the cat lady before she did the lasso or something like that. And you're trying to outthink your opponents. And it just ups the tension so much. And I love that. I could not believe that a game that was this simple had this much tension, and I personally like that a lot. Also, variability. Love the fact it's a double-sided board, and playing on this board really changes things up. Tons of different things change depending on which character you're playing as, depending on which characters are your goalies, because you don't get their special abilities, all that good sort of stuff. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Also, player component-wise, very fantastic components. Aside from the box insert, the little player shield, very well done, will help you out an awful lot. The cards are nice, the artwork's nice. The board that I have doesn't quite stay flat, but he told me that this was actually because this is one of the first ones, I don't know. Your version of the game should not have this issue. That's what he pretty much assured me, so don't worry about that. But I did want to mention it. The tokens, everything is very nice. I love how the meeples hold the flag so thematically, and you're just looking at it, and it looks like a little mini game of Capture the Flag, and I like that a lot. You could not tell I'm a big fan of Flag Dash. I feel like it's best at 4 players. I feel like, yes, I absolutely like it at 4 players, but 3 players is not bad, especially if you have someone who's an alpha gamer, then they control all the different characters. 2 players is my least favorite, but still not bad. So overall, Flag Dash, Peacekeeper Games, a lot of tension and a lot of fun in this small box. Be sure to check it out if you're in the market for something like this. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, Capture the Flag, are you a fan? For me personally, I used to play Capture the Flag like twice a year on my my teen retreats and my Aaron's house camps I used to go to. I love Capture the Flag, and I like it when it's on a huge map where it's less about who can run fastest, but more about who can, kind of find the flag and then try and manipulate people on the other team to go here so someone else can go there and then you can run it. And I just love it. I love Capture the Flag. Let me know in the comments below. Capture the Flag. Do you like it? As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.